Good morning, everyone. Mariana gave a tremendous introduction. I'm very honored to be here to introduce our new book. As she said, is the digital transformation, and I'm going to summarize here very quickly what we have done. This started very early in my career when I was with Penzol and was the VP of operation that was desperate because our planning was not very close to our execution. So what we have been doing over the years is to get this going so we can merge these two things. And what we are going to do here today is to kind of give you a glimpse of what the book is all about. It's a story about how this company start trying to bridge that gap between their plan and their um, execution and find all the hidden losses that we have in a big plant and how to do that very quickly. So the challenges in the IT/OT world today is that we got too many silos, too many data repositories where people has to spend a lot of time trying to get that data. And what we find is that people is the most important part of it, so it requires a different cultural transformation. You cannot have the same organization that you had in the past because this really entails that you need to really empower people and to change the way that they have been doing because they have to do it. This is not going to be something that is come from the sky and it's done. It's really a journey, and that's why we put here the digital transformation journey, because it's a step-by-step process and things are done by continuous improvement and innovation. And I touched that very heavily, like the person from Sandvik was talking yesterday. It was very enlightening to see someone that has almost the same ideas, because this is an evolution and it's all related to the total quality management, as he referred very quickly, having the Pareto charts, having the uh, fishbone diagrams, and that's what you need to do, and that's what you develop your templates using PyAF. Those are not just data. They have to be done according to business processes. So the key thing that Mariana was saying too is that while I was writing the book, a lot of customers started to become excited because they started to test this. So I'm very glad that they did that. I'm going to show you basically how that happened. Well, I started, as Mariana said, I did my PhD at the University of Utah. We did work on online models, and those were very complicated. So we developed a way to really validate, classify, and then model. You really need to classify the states before you can do any modeling in the system. And it's the same thing with the data. So at Penzol, where we went a little bit farther, because we wanted to have all the crude units, we needed to do the cut point controls, and we needed to optimize the yields. And that's what I learned a lot, and that's something that then I joined OSI, and I wrote quite a few papers with Pat. We wrote The Living Company with Pat, which is a tremendous paper that I encourage you to do, because with this infrastructure, you can do so many things, and that's what we do today. And then I worked very closely with Endesa, and CEMEX is there, and CEMEX is going to present. So I started to work with CEMEX because we developed the template at CEMEX. Because we work with the president of CEMEX. I mean, he was so much embedded in how to transform their company. This is very early. We're talking about 2001, 2002. And Endesa was the same. We worked with all of them, and we did a cookie cutter approach. And I have here, people sometimes doesn't know what a cookie cutter. This is the pie system. So you start applying that for every plant, and you just drag the tags in it, and you configure them. And that's really what makes it very, very easy and appealing to do so. Um, so I'm going to touch here because at the time when we started to do that, we didn't have the event frame. So Anglo American in South Africa developed their own using our API, of course, and they started to do Pareto charts, and you can see Mike Halhead presentations because he was really a truly pioneer on using our technology in this new way. So Michael put all their plants together. So having the cookie cutter approach, we have all the concentrators, all the smelters, every plant was done with a very similar approach, so they can do the, as he sees here, the how much they're treating and how much they're not treating. And the key thing here is that he was aiming at reducing 15% the energy. So they look for all ways to really cut down on the energy consumption. Not only that, they also organized something. So ESCOM, which is the company that produces the energy, when they had a SAG mill that needed to shut down, they shut down the boiler that was generating that. So it was really a community approach, and that's what we talk about communities, because it's not only the organization that is connecting to 17 plants, but also how that is leveraging together with other part of the ecosystem in the country. So the whole country now has reduced the amount of energy consumption. It's amazing if you read the story of Anglo American. Not only that, at the same time, what happened is that we started to work, and this was in Portugal, where I presented the same talk with all the details. You can see it's all written. We didn't have the visualization tools that we got today, because Microsoft and OSI only in 2015 came with the new PyVision and the new Power BI, because I use both, one for very detailed and the other one for aggregated view of the data, because everything is generated by the Pi event framing. And what I'm showing you here is that this is Autotech. Autotech decided to help Anglo American by looking at the filters, but they did it for Finland. That rather than having the trip from here, almost Sweden, Finland is next door, so going all the way to South Africa, there was a lot of pain to get there and to get the filters and to have the right people. So they started to use this PlyCow Connect, and this part of the book, because I believe this platform is really what's going to grow tremendously within the OSI software and the communities, because here you are connecting many sites and many partners, and the companies are working together. So this is showing you the idea that when you cut correctly and you do the cookie cutter approach, you can share that AF with different people, for different people and different perspective to attack the data that has all these diamonds in that. So it's not only one person, it's the community that start working together in this platform that is called the PlyCow Connect. I really encourage you to look at that, our product, because that's really, this has done a tremendous good job in what Anglo Americans able to achieve. Nalco did a very nice presentation last year this year actually at the Pi World in San Francisco. So I also encourage you to look at that case that we touch in chapter 9. And again, what I'm saying here is that we are talking about Anglo American, but then in all these discussions, we started to talk with ArcelorMittal. And ArcelorMittal said, and Denier Gervais was the salesperson, so actually Michel called me. And I don't know if Praval is here, because Praval also called me. He's worked now for Petum. Says, Osvaldo, we need you here because we want to do this test on artificial intelligence, actually, with ArcelorMittal. So we use this cookie cutter approach to look at one line. There are 7 lines in their beneficiation plan for iron in Quebec Cartier in Canada. And it's good to know French. I know French, so I can speak French with them. So it's very nice when you are part of their team. And I don't need to be there, because today we do everything remotely. And that's the beauty of the Pi system today and the speed of the computers. So that was a key thing that we did, and it's shown, I believe I need to touch here. So that's the one that I'm talking here. So we are in about 2014, 2015. And then, because this is in Canada, Barrick decided to do it again. And Barrick was very interesting, because we worked with a guy that didn't know about Pi system. You can look at their presentation, and it's called Jacob Stein. And without knowing Pi, he just used the cookie cutter approach, and in 7 days, he got the whole plant identifying the hidden losses. And not only that, he developed a gold recovery model on how to optimize the whole Cortez plant in Nevada. So it's a very success story that I really encourage you again to look. It's all reported in our Pi Square, you can see it, or in our presentations at the 2018 user conference. So after that, what happened is that the guy that was managing this is called Barun Gorain. This was so successful for Barrick that it was hired as the CTO for Vedanta. And now the whole Vedanta, which is in India, is using this cookie cutter approach. So we went from what I call the unit template to the digital template to the enterprise template. So we expanded the way that we rationalize and logically define the units to manage the whole enterprise. And this is Barun Gorain, and he's managing that. They are working on that today. So I'm very proud that this is what I'm going to be doing. And definitely now the book is done. So while I'm doing all these things, I was writing the book. So imagine that it was a lot of work, but very, very nice to see that we started with that. And actually that's how I explained to one of my colleagues here, which is uh, uh, Nick Stein from South Africa. I wrote that in my iPad, but that's exactly what we do, is that we put all the energy, all the water, everything. So we manage the energy and the production and the losses for these process flow diagrams. And you can see here one number, which is called the overall production effectiveness, is defining in this zinc, lead, and silver plant if it's running okay. And Nilesh, which was the person that designed this thing, put here, you can see the grade, the concentrate of the lead is 60 in red, meaning that he was giving too much lead to the smelter. So all this intelligence is there, and all the event frames are behind. And those event frames are then pushed into Power BI, so they can have the daily, shift, and monthly and yearly reports from the Pi data. So it's really an ecosystem that is built based upon this concept. And this dashboard is very interesting because it has all the KPIs for the whole plan. Remember, you can see there recovery. Recovery is the yield. And now, because you are classifying the data and validating the data from the Autotech, this is using the Autotech online analyzer, we are doing the mass balance in real time. This is not data. Everything that you see here is information. And who does that? PyF has all the ingredients for you to do that and to classify the data. So when you see zinc recovery, that's a calculation. And that calculation now becomes the predictive analytic models where you can optimize the recovery based upon all the variables from the mine to that stage. And that's what we have done today. And those have been reported by Vale, New Goal. They are optimizing their plan based upon this same, and then of course at Vedanta. So this is a kind of a culmination of what PyF can do for you. So I encourage you to look at that, and if you have any questions, I'm going to be outside showing you how these calculations are done in real time to come up with these predictive models. And this is the book. The book basically is the people, processes, and technology. You cannot do just technology. It's really the business processes that needs to be articulated, and they need to be automated by the PyF and the way that you do the event framing, because that's how you transform the data into information. And your history of production is your known asset. At ArcelorMittal, they went 3 years back, but when you put the rules in PyF, you get all the diamonds as you go back, so they know exactly which is the line that is not producing, or what are the pumps that are not doing it, because the data show you all those things. So the key thing, the message that I wanted to provide you today, is the creation of value, asset, and event templates. Those are the tricks to use the Pi system, and really embracing all these 3 components, which is technology, business processes, and people. Mariana helped me to summarize this. So basically, the digital transformation brings greater tangible and intangible benefits. The most important thing is that people has information, and the systems have information to do a lot more things. So we are transforming the unstructured data that is in the Pi system with this digital plan template into something very practical, very useful, to expand the use of the Pi system in many ways. It's really the combination of these business people and processes and the technology that makes it work. And applying these strategic templates and this data infrastructure and this cookie cutter approach that I'm suggesting here because you don't have the time to do it. You have to do it with a template. And so I really encourage you to design templates that brings value to your business. So that's what I have to say today. And thank you very much for your time. And I'll be, as I said, outside to have conversation with you if you have any questions. Thank you very much.